Okay, nitration of methyl benzoate. We're going to use a round bottom flask for this reaction. Let's stir the round bottom flask. That means zero down the weight of this round bottom flask. Okay, I'm going to put a holder like this and put the round bottom flask upright here and zero down the weight. Hit the tire button. Alright, that's 0 grams. Then I'm going to add the methyl benzoate, our reactant, 0.5 milliliter. Okay, this is 0.5 milliliter. Okay, 0.5 milliliter of methyl benzoate. Right. So let's add from the top. Okay. Now note down the weight of the 0.5 ml methyl benzoate. It is 0.558 grams. 0.558 grams. Add a tiny stir bar and 1 ml of sulfuric acid. And then connect an air condenser. Okay. Methyl benzoate and sulfuric acid inside the flask. And then clamp your apparatus into an ice bath. Okay, here's an ice bath. The reaction mixture is actually in the ice bath because when you add nitric acid and sulfuric acid, the reaction can go exothermic, which means it can produce heat. In order to contain the heat, we put some ice. Alright, so it's an ice bath. Now on the side, in a separate flask, we're going to add half a ml of sulfuric acid and half a ml of nitric acid. So that is our reagent. The mixture of nitric acid and sulfuric acid is our reagent for this nitration reaction. Okay, this reaction could be exothermic. Adding 2 concentrated acid could be an exothermic reaction. So we need to keep that mixture in an ice bath to contain the heat, right? So lower this into an ice bath, right? And add half a ml of sulfuric acid first. Right? It is a plastic tubing. This much is half a ml. Okay. Sulfuric acid. Now I'm going to add nitric acid. Right. We should add dropwise again to avoid the exothermic reaction. Add 1 drop and give enough time for them to mix before you add the next drop. Right. 1. Okay, now add a tiny stir bar and mix these nitric acid and sulfuric acid thoroughly on a stirrer. Okay, turn on the stirring. After mixing the sulfuric acid and nitric acid, let's add the reagent dropwise into our methyl benzoate. Right. So let's turn on stirring for the methyl benzoate, and I'm going to use a plastic dropper. Take this mixture of nitric acid and sulfuric acid and add dropwise, right? 1 drop at a time for next 15 minutes. So it's a very slow process. Again, this is to contain the exothermic reaction. We have an ice bath and we are adding it slowly. That way we can stop the exothermic reaction from going bad. Right. Okay, so 1 drop at a time. Okay, 1 drop, stirring. Let's wait for 30 seconds and add another drop. After adding all of the sulfuric acid and nitric acid into the reaction flask, now we're going to move this reaction flask from ice bath into a water bath. Right. So this will give a warm temperature, right? Heating up from the ice temperature to room temperature would help the reaction to go completion. Okay, move the ice bath and put a water bath on the stir bar. The reaction still needs stirring, so let's okay. The reaction mixture is stirring in the water bath at room temperature for next 15 minutes. Okay, after 15 minutes of reaction, let's stop the reaction by adding some ice to the flask. Right? So remove this flask. And transfer the content into an early made flask with some ice. Here's our reaction mixture. Add some ice to your 10 ml early made flask. You don't have to weigh 3 grams, just add some ice. this ice crystals inside this Olymer flask. Now let's transfer this reaction mixture into this ice to stop the reaction. Right. And we need to rinse off this reaction flask with some DI water. Okay, so here is our reaction mixture in ice. All of the ice have melted. The next step is filtration, separating the precipitate product from the liquid water. Right? So let's do the vacuum filtration. Turn on your water, check the vacuum, connect the vacuum tube, check the vacuum here, and transfer your product. And you can rinse off the remaining precipitate in the flask using ice water or ice methanol. Let's try ice water first. Take some ice water, add it to your flask on the side, and rinse your product into the filtration funnel. Right. Now you can also try the methanol. Let it dry, or you probably need to remove the stir bar. Okay. Extract as much product as possible from the stir bar. Now let it dry. Okay, here's our product. This is a crude product, so the next step would be a purification step using recrystallization with methanol. Okay, once the product is dried, let's stop the vacuum filtration. Alright, here is your dry crystals. Let's transfer these crystals into a small Olymer flask for a recrystallization step. Okay, try to extract as much product as possible from the funnel and transfer it to the Olymer flask. Okay. Now add a stir bar into this, and we're going to add a solvent. This is a recrystallization step. You might have studied this in OCHEM 1. This product is crude, which means we have some product that we want and some contamination. The contamination could be the unreacted products or reagents. We're going to remove those contaminations or impurities using a solvent, methanol. The methanol solvent will dissolve both the product and the impurities at a higher temperature. When you cool down the mixture, your pure product will selectively crystallize while the impurities are still dissolved in methanol. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a boiling methanol. Okay, is the boiling methanol, a solvent at a higher temperature. I'm going to add that we're going to add the boiling methanol into your crude product. So let's place the crude product here. So I just added a little bit of boiling methanol that dissolved all of our product and impurities. You can see that I'm stirring. Right. You can see that I'm stirring the mixture that has our crude product and methanol, and all of that are dissolved. Once all of the compounds are dissolved, we can transfer this mixture into an ice bath to selectively crystallize our product. Okay, remove the stir bar and place your product in ice bath. This will crystallize our product. Okay, so this is from the ice bath. You can see the crystals. That's a pure product, right? So we're going to filter the crystals using vacuum filtration. So turn on the water, check the vacuum, and transfer your crystals. Okay, let's dry the crystals. Okay, zero down the weighing paper. Transfer the crystals onto the weighing paper. So these are pure product. And check the weight of the pure product. Okay, the weight of the pure product is 0.516 grams. 0.516 grams. Right? The next step is to check the melting point of this product and NMR spectroscopy of the product.